Can you hear me? And are the slides visible? Is my screen visible? BY batch. Yes. Can you call the rest of the people? Can you call the rest of the people? Where are they? Wait. Yeah, our internet connection here is not so good. Still, now can you hear me? I'm pretty much close to the system now. Can you hear me? Is it clear? Clearly audible? Okay. Kindly ask the rest of the students also to be present. Please call the rest of the students. I have dropped the message in the WhatsApp group also. Many have seen it, but they are not turning up. See, I have to put the recordings of all the classes and the views on the video lectures. So even though despite of that, I'll still be trying my best to put up the attendance as favorable as possible. But if somebody sees all these things and asks me a question, then it will create a problem. So please be there. I keep everything over internet. Everything is recorded. So please, this is not to check you. This is to answer to the rest of the people if a question arises. I'm not forcing you for anything. I'm just requesting you kindly be there. If you're not feeling like, don't listen to it, but at least be here. Okay. Uh, let's begin with it. I don't think any more students will turn up now. So today we'll try to wrap up our remaining part of our syllabus. Acha, tell me something, any one of you. With Rati sir, you are at which position? I mean, Rati sir is dealing with which chapter right now? I asked you something. What is Rati sir teaching at present? You have to ask him. Hey, am I audible to you? Hey, look, my Acha, he is with game playing, right? Right. Okay, so let's begin. In our 2 days back, when we last met, we were talking about natural language processing. So today we'll go into the academic part of that. The first and the foremost thing is that natural language processing is a subpart of artificial intelligence. Right? It is one of the wings of artificial intelligence, and it generally uh, has got a kind of common sets with not just with AI but also with linguistics as well as statistical analysis. With linguistics as well as with statistical analysis. रुक जा कोई वेट कर रहा है अभी इस पे. So now what what natural language processing is all about is like the most critical or not the most easiest way of expressing or communicating information is through a mode call that is totally unsystematic and that is totally uh, what should I say that doesn't follows much of a rule is via natural language. Now, what is this natural language? Even though the concept that goes on, wait. Areva, now you're almost 43 now. Good. You people are listening to me. I'm really happy that you people are listening to me. I mean, listening to me means you're my request. Wait there if you're more coming up. Wow, wow. Okay, so in general, let's say if I'm talking with you, uh, the best and the most easiest way of communicating with any other human being is speaking or, in fact, uttering a language, right? And communicating what I exactly want to say to you all. Or it's not just between human beings, it's between any two living organisms also. But we're the most capable of all that. We do have a system that is equipped with grammar, which helps us to communicate the information in a much more better way. Uh, if I instruct you to do something uh, on a regular note or sporadically also, and if I ask you to make a process structure of it, or in fact in a much more easier language, if I ask you to make out an algorithm for it, you'll be writing down a small pseudocode or an algorithm for the same. And that thing is a kind of a routine task with certain legalities within them, which, if followed, then a task can be achieved. What we do in case of our normal programming ways or programming structures, right? So, in case of natural language, this thing doesn't hold true. If I ask you how to make an omelette, I'll not be instructing you to pick up an egg and do this and do that. Straight away, I'll ask you to make an omelette. Go and make it and come back. Right. So, uh, what I wanted to mean is that communicating in natural language is the most easiest way of sending and receiving information. Right? So now the question is, what are natural languages? What are natural languages? So if you just type out one sentence in IEEE.org, this is a this is paid by JP. So there are very few universities in India who pay for this, right? So it is paid, and you can download n number of research works from any area of your choice from IEEE. So JP has paid for that, but of late I have seen that very few people download. I mean, I'm talking about from students download the contents from that. So kindly try to make the best use of it when you come back to JVT. Right. So you just type natural language also, natural language processing in IEEE.org or at some other places. IEEE Explore also. You're gonna find that out of lakhs of research work that will come up, 98 to 99% will be in English language. So somehow people came to a kind of an idea that uh, maybe natural language means English language, right? Maybe natural language means English language, but that's not the case actually. The reason why by default any natural language processing is regarded as processing of English language is because the fact that most of the work that has been done till date is on English language. But if we look into what actually a natural language is, then even Hindi, Bengali, Urdu, Assamese, or any other language that is grammatically oriented and spoken within the human race, we call it as the natural language processing. So you're gonna find a lot of work in India that are based on the Devanagari script. That means on Hindi, Sanskrit, and all these languages. There are a lot of work that are going on. There are a lot of work that are been done at IIT Patna because I officially know people, those who are working in it, and even there are people at a lot of people at NIT Durgapur, IIT Kharagpur also, who are working in this area. Yeah. In fact, if you ask me a question that uh, how come natural language processing become a subpart of artificial intelligence? AI is all about how we make computers do things and which at present humans do in a much efficient manner. Then there is a separate segment we call it as language processing. Is what we expect the computers to do as we expect it to be done. Like my last message that I wrote on our WhatsApp group, I somehow wrote that nowadays you are not listening or not keeping my request. So, you being a human being, you understood that your tutor, he is not feeling good that you are not present, and you inferred the latent meaning within the sentence, and you immediately started turning up in the lecture session. So, you actually, what you did is, I haven't said you that wherever you are with your particular geographic location, pick up your handheld device or your laptop and open it up, sign in into the WebEx, open up your internet, and then come up and listen to my lecture. Put on your headphones. I haven't said you all these things, but you have started doing it only on the basis of one sentence. This you can do, but you cannot at present make a system infer all these informations from a simple statement in natural language. Right. So we can say that natural languages can be Hindi, they can be English, they can be French, Chinese, anything. Right? So natural language is a system of a set of symbols and a set of rules or grammar. The symbols are generally they are all generally the symbols that are involved are all the character sets and the numerals that are involved in the natural language processing part, right? So, what we're gonna do is now we gradually see the way what is this happening. So, just a moment. Now this thing has started. People will come up and they will wait in the lobby. So, natural language processing generally it is about a collection of basically two things. The first one is like natural language processing is about understanding the natural language on which the task is being implemented. We call it as the natural language understanding. It is understanding and reasoning while the input is a natural language. Here we ignore mostly the issues of natural language generation. Now, what is this natural language understanding? Understanding is about, it is a subpart of natural language processing where we generally focus about how a computer should understand the complexities of a human natural language. Now, voice is not clear now. This has happened from yesterday, day before yesterday itself. Yeah, it's because it has happened from day before yesterday. Uh, Wait, I'm changing the position so that becomes a little more audible. Is it audible now? A little better. Uh, hope it will be a bit more clearer than before because I have changed the position of my system as well as myself. The internet connection is a little poorer after this harmful this cyclone that has passed by. It has become very problematic out here. Okay, so we're talking about natural language understanding, right? So we have known what understanding is, like how we are processing a chunk of information in natural language, and we are inferring some information that has been encoded within that particular data. Now comes our second part, that means the natural language generation. So what happens is, you might have seen, I'll draw your attention towards some of the practical examples that will make the things much more clear. You might have seen that in our interactive devices, like the chatbots that are available in our most of the websites nowadays, particular websites, it is there. If you just write down in the IRCTC chat box also, or in any bank's chat box also, if you write, I want to open FD, fixed deposit, immediately all the information regarding how to open up a fixed deposit account that comes in front of you. Now, the thing is that what all things are being done here is, are they processing the whole set of information that you have seen? That means you have asked a question like uh, uh, how to open up a fixed deposit. Has they processed the whole of the thing? No, they have processed certain keywords in the information that has been provided to the system through a natural language. They have processed the term called fixed deposit, and the remaining words were treated as stop words, or in fact, semantically and morphologically, not so important word, right? Not so important word. They are just left out. They are just left out, right? So in those cases, these kind of examples are enough. Like they give you an output. You have seen how to book a ticket on IRCTC. You thought that you have to visit irctc.co.in, then you have to log in, then you have to do this. All this set of information are like, they're interactive things. They are already pre-recorded, or they're preconceived in fact. And the moment a keyword comes up, like how to book a ticket, they start fetching all these values from their database. Right? Here, there is no mechanism whatsoever for understanding the whole of the text. But that thing doesn't. Just a moment again. I'm tired of allowing people to be here. Now, that thing doesn't says that there are no systems at present basically which can basically support the fact that natural language cannot be understood. There are fantastic mechanisms, as I have shown you, even prepared by the students of our university. There are very good research works in which how to make the system understand the natural language is also there. But basically, they are not used because it makes the system very much complex. Right? So, what I because the slide in front of you is talking about natural language generation. I'm glad to be taking you to this point. While you asked a question to an interactive device and you wrote a question to it and the answer comes up, it is not always mandatory that it will be processing the whole of the question that you have asked. It may be taking it as a WH category of a sentence. WH means who, what, where, all these things, right? And the moment all these things are there, it is by default understood by the grammar analysis of any natural language processing module that you are asking a question and they come up with an answer. रुक जाओ फिर कोई वेट कर रहा है लॉबी में कितनी बार वेट करेगा ठीक है तो you get the reply from the system that is already pre-structured. Now we talked about natural language understanding. Now while we're talking about natural language generation, natural language generation is about like the work that I have shown you in our last lecture. If you again go back to it, it talks about questions. I mean, who's wearing a red shirt? Then an answer will come up like X Y Z. Any name will come. He's wearing a red shirt. It will come. So in the answer, it will not be written as uh, Mr. X is wearing a red shirt. Only the name will come up. That means X. Who's wearing a red shirt? And X is wearing a red shirt. Here, these category of answers that comes up, we call it as generally the factoid class of answers or questions. The factoid class of question and answer. If I ask you, am I audible and can you listen to me? And is the screen visible? Then you will come up with an answer of yes. This kind of question and answering we call it as factoid question and answering. FACTOID, factoid question and answering. In case of factoid question and answering, you don't need to go into the intricacies of natural language generation. What you just have to do is you have to come up with a kind of logical reply to अरे बाबा रे बाबा कितना रे Hmm. But there may be some other types of questions also. Yes, Shubham, would you like to ask something? Let's say in case of some other type of questions, like if I ask you, how's the temperature, how's the climate out there at your end? रुक जाओ राम प्रताप सिंह is again waiting in the line. पढ़ाने से ज़्यादा तो मुझे अलाउ करना पड़ता है रूम में. Yes, audio quality is not so good maybe, but this is the max that I can do. I have in fact switched off my uh, ceiling fan also, and I'm profusely sweating right now so that you'll be able to hear me. And I've kept the mic as close as possible to me क्योंकि इससे ज़्यादा पॉसिबल नहीं हो पा रहा है मेरे से. आई नो प्रीवियस डेज में आपको बहुत अच्छा क्वालिटी सुनाई पड़ता था लेकिन अभी इससे ज़्यादा तो पॉसिबल नहीं हो रहा है बच्चा. समझ में आ रहा है व्हाट आई एम स्पीकिंग? आई मीन इज इट to an extent that you are understanding? Yeah, you can put on your mic and you can reply. You don't have to type the text. Any one of you. Am I audible? Uh, some disturbance is there. रुक जा मुझे चैट पढ़ने दे. Ritwik said yes. Roll number 193 said yes, but some noise. Okay, some noise. Trust me, I'm not creating any noise. And Varidhi Jain says yes. Anshu Mangal is saying yes. Some sentences getting quite difficult. Okay, so Shubham, you are not able to understand some of the sentences, right? Shall I explain those sentences? If you just give me some hints, I'll again re-describe them. No, 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 no. Mic is at the same. Mic is at the same distance. In fact, it is much closer today than previous days. It's because of the cyclone that has come up. The internet quality is little poor. सुनाई पड़ा. I mean, because of the cyclone, the internet quality is a little poor. Mike is not far away. Mike is even closer to me today than previous days. पहले तो मैं माइक पुट अप ही नहीं करता था. I used to keep it. I used to straight away fix the system, and I mean, I didn't used to have any plugged in mic. ठीक है, कोशिश करो. वरना we are going to repeat this lecture once again. Maybe after 23rd, because 23rd is the last day to complete up the important parts, right? So natural language generation is about generating the natural language. If I ask that who's a better president and why, Donald Trump or the next presidential candidate there, maybe Joe Biden. So who's the best candidate amongst them and why? If I talk about this, then it may happen that you have to give me an answer that is a non-qualified one. That means you have to describe the. You have to describe. ये देख तो अभी शायद थोड़ा सा इम्प्रूव किया हो. इज इट मोर. हाँ, कौन चिल्ला रहा है? पीयूष. अभी थोड़ा सा इम्प्रूव हुआ क्योंकि नेटवर्क भी थोड़ा सा इम्प्रूव किया है. हाँ, क्योंकि अभी थोड़ा सा मेरा as it is showing, it has improved a bit. तुम्हारे चक्कर में मैंने पंखा चलाना बंद कर दिया है. एसी वाले रूम में बाकी के लोग सो रहे हैं मेरे, सो मैं वहां जाके चीख नहीं सकता. कोशिश करूँ थोड़ा सा. ठीक है. तो in case of natural language generation, there are certain questions in which the factoid answering may not be the answer. So under those cases, you need to have a system that replies back in the same manner as we do. Like if you ask me a question, how is the climate out there? I'll be a little descriptive kind of. I'll not say good, bad, so, or it's neutral. I'll not be replying in this manner. Uh, this kind of uh, uh, this kind of replies makes the system a little mechanical or monotonous, right? So natural language generation is something on which a lot of work is being done. That means it is generally referred to as text generation. You can also ask me a question that why text generation is so difficult. Text generation in itself is not difficult because a lot of sentences can be extracted through crawlers and all, and can be rendered to the user from the internet itself. But generating a context based text is something that is difficult. Like as it is shown in the figure, you can see that you do have a natural language input. You have asked a question to the computer, and the natural language output should come out. So generally today what happens is the output is factoid. That means we process the natural language, we structure it, and then we don't generate a natural language. Rather, we generate a phrase or a word. I mean, mostly a word and at max a phrase as a reply to the natural language query. ठीक है. रुक जाओ, मुझे आज धीरे धीरे स्लाइड चेंज करना है. I'm gradually, you know. So we do have the formal language. That means before defining the formal language, we need to know what are symbols. Alphabets and strings. Symbols are like letters, digits, and special characters. Alphabets are a set of alphabets. You can just club them up under one head, or they can be descriptive for each and every alphabet itself in the natural language. You can have a string of words also. It can be numerals as well as characters, right? Then comes language. It is a set of strings from an alphabet. And formal language processing is about involvement of TOC, that is theory of computation, that is application of grammar grammar rules in processing of natural language. That is somewhat not dealt at your level because we generally don't deal with it. Instead of that, what we are going to do is it is out here. From your examination point of view, you need to know this: the linguistic and the language processing. They generally deal with the phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, and pragmatics. And phonology is about the phonetics. Phonetics means the sounds involved in natural language. As we say, we can speak it out because of our vocal cords. Now, you have known what is natural language understanding and what is natural language generation. Now, the linguistics and and language processing can be subdivided into two parts. The first part is the speech recognition, and the second part is that of the natural language processing. Speech recognition is somewhat a common subject between computer science and engineering, as well as between electronics and communication engineering, because many of the speech processing techniques are EC based. In, more than the involvement of logics, it is about the involvement of the hardware devices for understanding the speech, like how you are going to process the sound, or how you are going to take care of the word formation. These things, word formation, sentence structuring, and pragmatics gradually comes under the heading of natural language processing. So let us see from this diagram what all things we can. Now here we do have the levels of linguistic analysis. While we are starting up with it, we are basically in the speech recognition part. Some of you, those who have got a little bit of idea about MATLAB, it is a very common tool nowadays for research purpose. Have you heard about the term called MATLAB? Any one of you? MATLAB. Heard about this term, MATLAB? Okay. So, if you've seen MATLAB, you will be finding that in case of speech recognition, there are a lot of what should I say, packages that are already available for language processing or speech processing. In fact, so how to take up the input in the form of wave files, and why not in some other form, right? So these all things are generally predefined in MATLAB for speech recognition. So their acoustic signals can be simply provided as an input to the MATLAB, and we can further process it for our any kind of application. Now, you could have had a question like, what kind of applications you are talking about, and what are the things that I can do for speech recognition. Mostly, if it is non-research based, and if it is about general day-to-day, talks on engineering, then we say, see, my system is having a speech recognizer, and the moment I'll say open up my mobile, and it's gonna open by recognizing my voice. Like these are some of the very trivial applications of speech recognition. Some of the most critical applications of speech recognition are we previously had a work on it. Would you like to see one of the works on speech recognition of mine? I have to go to the internet and I have to show it. Shall I go and show you? If you are agreeing, then I can show you. Then you'll be understanding this SR part that you are seeing on the screen. Starting with phonetics, phonology, lexical, morphology, all these things. I have to show you. Just a moment. Just a moment. रुक जाइए, मैं कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. I'm trying. Can you see what all is there in the screen? Okay, so I'm just opening up this Jadavpur University's website. भगवान जादवपुर खुल गया भाई. Hopefully they are still kept my work. No, 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 no. Yeah, these all problems are coming up from yesterday. The day before yesterday. ना रे, I'm sorry. ये खुलेगा नहीं आज because पूरा कोलकाता, you might have seen it in the news that पूरा the West Bengal is in a very very bad state. The West Bengal is in a very very bad state. Okay, I'm telling you, with one of the professors out there, we do have a language processing laboratory in the Department of Computer Science and IT out there in Jadavpur University, where we had a work. We developed this work way back in 2013, almost 7 years back. And in that work, what we did was we worked on speech generation. Speech generation is a technique in which, let's say, you're very fond of one of the artists, one of the good singers, like, say, it is Kishore Kumar, and you know his voice like anything, and you have been hearing his songs for years together, and at present you want the same voice to sing a song of present era. Now, since that great legend is no more there with us, so there are two options left. There only one option left. The only one option is that you need to have a singer whose voice is as close as possible to his. But for doing that, you do have to match up the phonetics of both of them, and none of the two living individuals or living and non-living individuals can ever have the similar kind of phonetics because it is also kind of a digital signature. That means our speech frequencies and the pitch, they are all unique to us. So there is one way out, that from the voice segments, the way in which he used to sing the song in the past, some of its strips, the voice strips, can be copied, and a present day song, that means how he would have uttered a particular set of lexicon, a particular set of lexicon within the song, how he would have uttered it. We could have trained a system by picking up very small bit of his phonetics from his way of singing, and then we could have developed a song in today's day world which would have shown as it has been sung by Kishorji at present. So these are some of the works. These are very critical works on which a lot of research is on. I would have shown you that paper out there, but it's not possible. So phonetics is that part of speech recognition. That means we're talking about how it would have sounded, the production and perception of a speech. Then comes the phones, that is the sound patterns of the language, how we are basically uttering a particular sequence of words, or in fact morphemes. That means this how we are uttering a particular morpheme. Morpheme, the smallest legible set of information or word in any natural language. Now, lexicon is a dictionary of words in a language. The widely used dictionary of words in a language. You can see it from WordNet also. Right? Many of you might have used WordNet in your chatbot if you have ever developed it. I mean, there are a lot of people who use WordNet. Have you heard about this term called WordNet? Piyush, do you know something about WordNet? Rule number 142, Piyush, do you know something about WordNet? Rinana, I'm just asking you because your name is there on the top of this list, so I asked you. Pranshu Mangal, can you say, have you heard about this term called WordNet? Pranshu, are you there? आप सब सो गए लगता है. You all people are sleeping. Rajanish, are you there? Oh, Pranshu, no. WordNet generally it is used here. Sure. Then comes the morpheme, morphology, syntax, and uh, the understanding and structuring of the sentences there. Okay. So we do have the syntax and I mean the syntactic as well as semantic analysis there. And finally comes as the pragmatics. That means the hidden information within the set that we know. Now we do have a particular set of steps. बहुत ज़्यादा I cannot go in detail because I have to cover up one more part of it. So still I'll keep telling you the technicalities of it and you have to just keep on listening. ये मुझे बहुत गर्मी लग रहा है यार. I'm opening the fan. Steps of natural language processing. The first one is the morphological or the lexical analysis. Here we talk about the lexicons. That means we talk about the language vocab. Right? Next, it is about the morphology. That means the analysis and description, the structure of words. We call it as the morphology of the language. Right? Next step is within that is the lexical analysis. The aim is to divide. Lexicon is about the smallest. I mean, morphemes को छोड़ करके. It is about the grammatically smallest part. Like when we subdivide a paragraph into a sentence and then the sentence into a word and then process it, we call it as the lexical analysis. In सब लेकर के let me tell you that those of you who have used TextLog or NLTK, then these all processes earlier, let's say around 3-4 years back, you would have to write down a code for all of them. But now these things are you don't have to do all these things. They have got separate packages for lexical analysis, for syntactic analysis, for parsing, for annotation. You don't have to do anything. These tools provide you with inbuilt set of codes to take care of all this process. But you need to know what actually happens here. So in syntactic analysis, what happens is you got a now there are two things: syntactic analysis, and the second one is semantic analysis. The best way to understand the difference between syntactic and semantic is that I have uttered a sentence, right? Mm, I have written a sentence or I have spoken a sentence like sky blue uh, is sky blue beautiful it is, right? So it is a grammatically incorrect sentence. So under syntactic analysis, the syntax of the whole of the sentence until it reaches a delimiter, that means a full stop or a comma, it has to check its grammatical uh, coherence, right? How close it is to grammatical correctness. So that process is called as the syntactic analysis. In case of semantic analysis, what happens? Even though the text may be grammatically correct, but it is not inferring any information, right? So under these cases, we call it as this process is called as it will fail semantically. Then we call it as the semantic analysis. Fail semantically means रुक जाओ फिर 2 जन वेट कर रहे हैं मतलब ऋषभ एंड दीपिका मिश्रा देखो ऋषभ वेट करके भाग गया ठीक है ऋषभ थोड़ा सा वेट किया और भाग So like even though the sentence may be syntactically correct, but they may not be semantically okay enough. Okay. So this part of the information is called as this part of analysis is called as the semantic analysis. Okay. For all these processes nowadays, you don't have to do anything. Now comes the discourse integration. The meaning of an individual sentence may depend on the sentence that precede it. Right. That means sometimes we use the word it, she, he, them, that. Right. So if I ask you like pick that bottle and put it in the dustbin, I may not be saying you that pick the bottle that is at a distance of 3 meters towards the northeast direction of yours, and you have to walk for 2 to 2.5 steps and then hold it by your hand, pick it up from the surface of the table and drop it right inside the dustbin. I'll not be saying the things in this manner. I'll simply refer to the bottle as that. Pick up that and put it in the dustbin, right? You wanted it. So when we talk about these kind of words, like we are talking about the discourse integration, sometimes the information set is not finished in that particular sentence itself, but it may be referred in the future sentences also. Or while we are in the future sentences, I mean the present sentences, we may have to go to the sentences that has been already said in the previous before the previous delimiters, and we can infer certain information from them, like uh, Ram is a good boy. uh, he regularly goes to the class. So here, Ram is a good boy, full step, and he regularly goes to the class. I'm talking about here. This he refers to the sentence preceding to the present sentence, and here he means the individual called Ram, right? So there is another name also nowadays that has come up. The technical part or the technical name of this kind of problem is we call it as the co-referencing. We call it as the co-referencing part. Okay. Then comes the pragmatic analysis. The best way to understand pragmatic analysis is when we'll be there in our next chapter. That means on the last chapter. That is the common sense part. Right? Uh, if there is a statement like it has been given an example, do you know what time it is? It is an indirect way of asking or putting up a request to know something. Like what is the time? Right? What is the time? What is the present time? So in this case, what you're gonna do is you'll be inferring. I'll not be asking what is this time straight away. In fact, this is another way, or you have to infer certain common things that are not explicitly said, but they are implicitly understood. Right? They're not explicitly said, but they are implicitly understood. Right? If I say you, in case of pragmatic analysis, if I ask you, Pratap Singh again left the meeting. If there's a glass on the table and I ask you to put another glass beside it, so what I'll be saying is pick up this glass and put it beside that glass. I'll not be saying that put this glass also on the table and right next to the glass that is there on top of the table. I'll not be saying it in this manner. So there are some of the things that are understood, even though not specifically said. Now we do have definition of terms. I'll not be reading much here. So phones are the acoustic patterns, right? Light and these are you have to please read these sentences once. Right? Uh, Important part are the one that I have already said you previously. What are words? What are determinants? Now to take out the determinants, you don't have to nowadays put up a code. They are already inbuilt now, and that segment, that package is called as the any chunker. Nowadays it is called as the any chunker. Any underscore chunker chunker. रुक जाओ, मैं कोशिश करता हूँ आपको इसका एक एग्जाम्पल, एनोटेशन का एक एग्जाम्पल दिखाने का। इसके बाद मोस्टली ऑल द थिंग्स दैट आर देयर आर रिलेटेड टू एनोटेशन itself. ठीक है, they talk about morphology, that means the analysis of the word with morphemes. Morphemes are the smallest meaningful unit in the grammar of a language, or they may also be called as the smallest linguistic unit. In this case, I'll be telling you that while what we do here is, in case of morphemes, is technically in terms of the coding part in NLTK or text block, they're basically like finding out the root word. Right? Unbreakable, we remove the un part, then break part, then able part. So here the root word is break, to break something. Unbreakable, something that is not breakable. So we'll come down to the root words by using this analysis of the morphemes. Types of morphemes, you have to remember this: free morphemes, bound morphemes, inflectional morphemes, derivation morphemes. तो थोड़ा इसको देखने का है, बाकी you can forget about. You have to know what is semantics, what is pragmatics. I've already said grammatical structure. खास ज़रूरत नहीं है, you just need to know what is a sentence, what is constituents. Like we do have the phrase, phrasal verbs. Then we do have the um, parsing part, as you're seeing in front of you. Like the man traveled slowly. The man. Then you have separate all the determinants, connectives, and the noun, proper noun. All these things, how you're dividing it off. So you do have a phrase structure, a collection of a few rich words. They talk about all those things in English language, like the noun phrase, the verb phrase. ये आप ना भी देखो तो भी चलेगा, phrase rules आप ना भी देखो, ये आप थोड़ा सा देख लेना. That means the phrase structure. It is just NP means proper noun. DT means determinants. ADJ means adjectives, right? Pronouns, nouns, all these things are there. Okay. So in grammar, then we do have the parser. We have a top down and bottom up parser. If we start up from the sentence and go down to all the basic lexicons, then we call it as the top down parsing. If we start up from the lexicons and start upwards and try to form the sentence, logically correct sentence, we call it as the bottom up parsing. So then set of terminals and non terminals अभी आपको देखने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. Parsers के ऊपर भी कहा गया है, what is a parse tree that you are seeing just a few moments back. The same thing that I have talked right now, that is the top down parsing and the bottom up parsing. थोड़ा थोड़ा देखोगे, बाकी आपको ये सारी चीज़ें अभी just जितना मैंने बोला है, the part that is there in this video lecture, only those things you have to go through. बाकी आप थोड़ा सा उसको रहने दोगे until you do that. Yeah. Uh, I might have shown you this thing. Have I already shown you this thing? Have I discussed this thing? No, no. Uh, you can adopt a lot of projects from this, and there are a lot of good works that are coming up from the government of India in this domain, that is creation of new military tigers. You can please freely ask me a question. These are the practical applications of it. Mm, I can make you talk with one of your super seniors who's a class of 2018. He's done a good amount of work on this area. Presently, he is with Datamatica Pune. Many of you know him because I take up his name many number of times. That is Utkarsh Anand. यहाँ पर अगर if I'm putting out is that first and here what I've done is I've chosen class 3 classifier for the year. Hey, are you watching what I'm showing you? Hey guys, viewer, are you seeing? आप देख रहे हो मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ? ये भाग गया. Okay. So this is a freeware. Its APIs are also available. And what it does is अभी तक जो भी आपने देखा कि like determinants and all these things इनको जब parse करने का रहता है तो it is an auto parser, right? Uh, so here you can see that I have put up a sentence and under they have got three categories of in fact NER taggers, right? Name entity taggers. They've got three categories. This was launched in use Gen annotation request. So I have used this class 3 tagger. In place of that, I'll be using class 4 now. And this class 4 tagger, if you use the same sentence, so you're gonna see पहले था organization, location and person was the only name entity tagger that was available, right? Until 2016. Then by 17 end they came up with one more, that means miscellaneous. आप मुझसे कुछ क्वेश्चन भी पूछ सकते थे यहाँ पर, like what is the necessity of these taggers and all, या फिर मैं कर क्या रहा हूँ. अगर आपको कुछ पूछना है तो पूछो. I'm watching this chat, right? आपको अगर पूछना है आप क्लियरली पूछ सकते हो. ये हो क्या रहा है आप मुझसे पूछ सकते हो. कुछ भी क्वेश्चन दिमाग में आ रहा हो, कोई शर्माने की बात नहीं है. यू कैन आस्क मी अ क्वेश्चन. अच्छा देखो, टैगर क्या है बेसिकली. अभी तक जितना भी चीज़ आपने देखा उसका प्रैक्टिकल, if I want to implement it practically, what am I going to do? I have to first segregate the words. That means I have to make out a parse tree of it. Yes, what is the use of taggers? Good. I'm telling you what is the use of taggers. Uh, let's say I have to make an AI based system that talks about I've got a full sentence and I have to go to the lexical analysis of it. That means I have to subdivide it into smaller and smaller parts. I have to make them, I have to crush them into bits and pieces. And I have to say, what are they basically? What are they basically? I'm talking in a very abstract senses, right? What are they basically? So, just a moment. So there is one thing we call it as a pause tagger. First one is the pause tagger. That means the parts of speech tagger. Right? We do have the parts of speech tagger. Now, what is meant by parts of speech tagger is there are hundreds of pause taggers available. But I'll ask you. I'll recommend you to go for a Stanford University's Postagger. It is widely available. Postagger clearly annotates the whole of the sentence. That means con verb, what is verb and what is determiner. Like, can you see this part? I might have also said you in the class. I don't know whether I said you or not. If I ask you a simple question that in a English language statement, how many different kind of lexical points, that means how many different kind of, to be very in a crude sense, how many different kind of words that we do use. So you'll be coming up with, like, if you can start counting, don't look at the screen. If you start counting on, you can talk about like nouns, pronouns, adjectives, prepositions, adverbs, verbs, determinants, conjunctions, over 5, 6, 7, 8 different kind of words, right? But I mean, what I've opened right now is the Pennsylvania Tree Bank project. It is the world's finest project on artificial intelligence and linguistic analysis, right? They say that a particular English language does have 36 different types of words. 36. Now, the question is it really mandatory to use all of them in your day to day speeches? It is not mandatory. We cover up hardly 13 to 14 different kind of this tags in our day to day life. So generally what happens is we do have a post tagger that clearly tags the grammatical element of any particular natural language text. Here by default, remember by default the natural language that we are talking about is the English language, right? The default is the English language. So I can have a tag of CC, that means coordinating conjunction, or something like JJ, that is for adjective. I hope you remember 2 days back while we were going on with our work, like जो मैंने आपको work दिखाया था उसमें आपको पता नहीं आपने देखा था या नहीं, that we had, I've shown you that while we had a post tagging done, these tags JJ, then JJS, and these NN, NNP, NNS, these all tags were there present. Right? So this is how we put a tag. So taggers are packages that are available. Right? But the question now arises: if this is a tagger, then what the hell is this named entity tagger? NER. नेम एंटिटी रिकॉग्नाइजर, बेसिकली इसको टेक्निकली कहते हैं नेम एंटिटी रिकॉग्नाइजर और नेम एंटिटी टैगर, राइट? The first one is grammatically tagging a sentence, and the second important thing that is to be done is na segregating the sentence or subdividing the sentence on the basis of usefulness. कैसे बताऊं? On the basis of its class. बेसिकली क्या क्या हो सकता है ना, एक तो हो सकता है द थिंग ऑफ इंटरेस्ट इन अ पर्टिकुलर सेंटेंस. One can be organization, another one is a location, third one is a person, right? So these are the things that can be of interest to us. So initially what Stanford did was they came up with this class 3 tagger. Class 3 tagger, they said that dividing world's whole vocabulary into only 3 classes is almost useless. So they came up with class 4. So right now we have done this particular analysis on class 4, and you can see it has automatically checked or automatically found out Alan as a person and America as a location, right? So if I say as a man into the case what's FACEP, okay, Facebook, and he stays at America. And now if I submit this in here, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put up here is IPM, right, and then I'm going to submit it. See, a beautiful thing happened. A term called the moment I have kept IBM, it came up under the organization. तो एक चीज और मैं देख लेता हूँ FACEBOOK. See, please, this is the best thing that I could have shown you. Have you seen what has happened in the last few seconds? Have you seen what has happened in the last few seconds? When I first wrote Facebook with a smaller f, it was unable to recognize that Facebook is an organization. When I wrote as F caps, then immediately it recognized it as an organization. The moment I wrote it as IBM, it recognized it as an organization. Now, this is a class 4 one. Now I'll go for a class 7 one. So यहाँ पर what are the things that we had? Organization, location, and person, and one more was there, miscellaneous. Now we are going for the class 7 one. So organization, location, person. With that, we do have three more additions: the date, money, and percent. The date, money, and percent is the new addition in this. So if you would have added something like money here, or you could have added stays in America from June 2000, and if I submit it, see, immediately the moment I wrote June 2000, it picked it up as what? Now it has picked it up as a date. It has picked it up as date. So you can write down something related to percentage and something related to money also. So what it has done is it has annotated, that means it has tagged the uh, in a very rough language the important words from that sentence, and from here you can create a database of important chunk of information. So now there is a problem with this. I wrote here what? Alan. Instead of Alan, what I am going to do here is Raghav. I wrote Raghav, right? Raghav, I wrote. See what's going to happen now. See, the moment I wrote Raghav, this Raghav part went away from the person segment. Are you seeing what I'm? Are you understanding what I'm saying? मैं क्या बताना चाह रहा हूँ, कुछ समझ में आ रहा है? Any one of you, please? समझ में आ रहा है भाइयों और बहनों? लोग भाग गए क्या? Hey, am I audible? जागो, कहाँ गए? मेरे को डर सा लगता है कि तुम लोग भाग गए या कहाँ गए. हाँ, वो ठीक है, खाली यस यस मत कर, कुछ तो बोल, कुछ तो पूछ. बट देर इज नॉट पर्पल साइन ऑन राघव. यस, गुड. अच्छा लगा. अब तुम लोग मन ही मन सोच रहे होगे ये कितना बेकरार हो रहा था ये जानने के लिए. तो दीपिका मिश्रा is asking about, but there is not a purple sign on Raghav. Deepika, you are in BY. You are in BY batch.
No, sir, I am not in the batch. Actually, I have joined wrong meeting, but I get interest. That is why I am joining.
हे भगवान, वही तो मैं बोल.
Sorry, sir.
कोई नहीं ना, सॉरी की कोई बात ही नहीं है. अरे सीखने में क्या जाता है. दीपिका कहाँ से हो तुम?
सर वो इंटरेस्टिंग लग रहा था इसलिए।
अच्छी बात है, बहुत अच्छी बात। दीपिका, आप कहाँ से हो?
सर हम छतरपुर मध्य प्रदेश से हैं।
छतरपुर से हो, कहाँ पढ़ते हो आप?
गवर्नमेंट पॉलिटेक्निक कॉलेज नौगांव।
अच्छा, कौन से ब्रांच में हो?
मैकेनिकल।
मैकेनिकल के हो करके आपको ये समझ में आ रहा है मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ?
यस सर इट इज इंग्लिश।
ओके, चलो ठीक है बाबा, ठीक है उसमें।
According to me, I don't know anything, but I am getting interest.
It is basically we are talking about. It is a very core area of research. So in any computer engineering department of JP or it is of NIT or IIT, you're gonna find dedicated labs where we prepare out systems. This is जो मैं आपको भी दिखा रहा था आप लोगों को। रुक जा, one of my student is asking a question. So why is not yes, why Raghav is not recognized? Why is it not recognized, Raghav? I mean, why Raghav has not been recognized, right? And is only particular nouns are being highlighted? Yes. Now, I'll be answering all these questions now. By the way, there's a clear-cut statement from my side. ये सारी चीजें रिकॉर्ड में जा रही है बाबा, बहुत कांड होता है उसी में मैं साफ साफ बोल रहा हूँ। मैं आपको फोर्स नहीं कर रहा अभी रहने के लिए, अगर आपको जाने का मन है आप जा सकते हैं, मैं अपने लेक्चर को कंटिन्यू रखूंगा। कल तक में मुझे कोर्स कंप्लीट कर देना है, देन अगेन फ्रॉम संडे मंडे ट्यूसडे हर दिन शायद मैं 4:45 में अपना दुकान खोल के बैठूंगा। दैट मीन्स आई विल कम अप विद सम ऑफ द टेक्निकलिटीज ऑफ आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस। मैं तो आऊँगा, एंड आप में से अगर कोई एक भी आता है, कोई अटेंडेंस नहीं होगा, कुछ भी नहीं होगा, मैं कुछ भी नहीं पूछूंगा, आई विल कीप ऑन डिस्कसिंग द थिंग्स, ये मान करके कि मेरे सामने कुछ लोग हैं सुनने वाले। सो दैट्स वाई अगर आपको आपके मम्मी पापा भी कह रहे हैं कुछ खा लो पी लो, तो जा करके खा पी लो। uh, कहीं इफ़ यू वांट अ बायो ब्रेक यू कैन गो फॉर दैट एंड यू कैन जॉइन मी लेटर, आई मीन आफ्टर 5 मिनट्स। और मैं तो यू नो व्हाट, आई वाज अटेंडिंग वन ऑफ द research seminars of NIT Jamshedpur recently, and there are some great speakers out there. And मैं बात कर रहा था करते 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 I forgot that I'm supposed to have my lunch. I picked up my phone and I went on there. मैं खाना खाते खाते ही सुनता रहा. Then even once I had to go to the for bio break and to splash some water on my face. I went up there and I was also listening there in fact. So आप चाहो तो वो भी कर सकते हो। यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा है देखो पहले, ये एक समझो पहले बातों को। स्टैनफोर्ड यूनिवर्सिटीज ये जो आप देख रहे हो, ये एक इनका फ्रीवेयर है, FREEWARE। जब आप यू नो व्हाट सॉफ्टवेयर इज, राइट? सो दिस इज अ फ्रीवेयर। That means Stanford has prepared it and they have kept it. They have done and dusted and they have kept it for the rest of the people to do any further research on that. So Stanford is at present the number one in natural language processing part of artificial intelligence, right? So what they have done in 2016 is that for a computer to understand a natural language, they have specifically picked up the whole of the sentence and started tagging it under the heads of the first one is the class 3 classifier। class 3 classifier का काम ये था। आप एक चीज़ देखोगे, बड़ा मज़ेदार चीज़ है यहाँ पर। मैं यहाँ पर इफ़ यू क्लिक ऑन इट यू गोना फाइंड दैट क्लास 3 क्लासिफायर फिर इंग्लिश है फिर चाइनीज़ भी है। डू यू नो ऐसा क्यों है? क्योंकि इसका जो मेन इसके एक्चुअली आप हमारे लाइब्रेरीज में JUT के स्टूडेंट्स, आप हमारे लाइब्रेरीज में आप यू गोना सी दैट वी डू हैव Dan Jurowski's book and Christopher D. Manning के book. They are very famous AI NLP scientists. They are the father of NLP in fact. Rather, the Christopher D. Manning and Dan Jurowski के books are available in our library. They are thousands of rupees उसकी कीमत। आप उसको देखोगे तो you gonna find that उनकी एक चेली है, चेला होता है, एक चेली है, उसका नाम है एंजल चैंग, ANGLCHENG। If you go to the visit of If you visit the site of Stanford and if you type out just आप वहाँ पे लिखोगे क्रिस्टोफर मैनिंग और डैन जुराफ्स्की, आपको वहाँ पे वो दिख जाएंगे। तो दिस एंजल चैंग इज शी इज बेसिकली फ्रॉम चाइना, सो व्हाट शी डिड वाज ही मेड आउट tagger and classifier. She was a PhD student at Stanford. She developed these codes for Chinese language also, Chinese taggers. तो उसीलिए ये चाइनीज दिख रहा है। फिर थर्ड के बाद what they did was in fourth they added कि सारे दुनिया के वर्ड को we cannot club it up under three heads. Let us keep the remaining words under miscellaneous section, MISC करके जो fourth में आ रहा था, right? Then they thought of कि let's remove this miscellaneous part also and instead of three let's make it seven. तो ये जो अभी आपको बोर्ड यहाँ पे दिख रहा है that is the seven class classifier. This seven class classifier started classifying the whole of the things into seven broad categories. So for extracting information, that means unstructured data में जो आप आज के डेट में बहुत यूज करते हो, आपका वो MongoDB and all these NoSQL databases, ये सारी चीजें they are far far more inferior to what I'm showing you right now. We only make a usable set of information from the whole lot of unstructured texts. Rather, in case of my NER, what happens is they make the things much more applicable. So यहाँ पर राघव क्यों नहीं आया? Let me tell you that this has been developed by Stanford, right? So since Stanford has developed it, so they have they have their own bank of information. जो मैं WordNet की बात पहले कर रहा था, तो दे हैव इफ यू विजिट टू देयर सॉफ्टवेयर इज पार्ट ऑफ इट, ये भी मैं दिखा सकता हूँ आपको। वहाँ पर जो वर्डनेट यूज करते हैं दे आर फॉर अमेरिकन नेशन, दैट मीन्स वहाँ पे एलन शेली एंड ऑल दीज काइंड ऑफ नेम्स इफ यू पुट अप देन immediately under the location of under the potential tags of a person it will be segregated as a person, Alan, Shelley, Watson, these kind of names. But if you put up Raghav, Ram, Shyam, Banerjee and Piyush, Rajneesh, Rashi Srivastav, Ritika, SP Tiwari. If you put up all these names, then it's not going to recognize it. So that's the reason why. So now here also I have written America, but if I am writing down it as Rahugar or Ashoknagar or any other place in India, it will not be recognized. But if I put down India, it will recognize. That means it has got a set of words that are predefined in their particular applicable wordnet, which they are fetching. Their code is fetching from their packages. So while you are downloading the NLTK, you have to download these packages also. These packages are having a size of around 2 GB, around 1.5 to 2.5 GB around size. So ये सारी चीज़ें हैं जो आपको देखना था। ठीक है, अभी बहुत ज़्यादा आई विल नॉट पुल इट, बेटर है कि मैं चला जाऊँ एक और टॉपिक जो बचा हुआ है एंड देन आई कैन कॉल इट डे। सो यहाँ पर एक चीज़ है जो हमें आपको बताना है। नाउ विल स्टार्ट अप विद ये कौन है ये शिखा। शिखा को अभी आने का मन किया इतना लेट। So, our last bit of thing that we are supposed to know is the common sense. I'll start with something that is very prevalent, that is, common sense is not so common as we think. Common sense is not so common as we think. Let us see what all things are there in our common sense. Now, what is basically a common sense? By the way, let me tell you that there is a specific chapter also, and even though we do have a chapter, there is a specific branch in computer science. They call it as the common sense engineering. अरे यार ये शिखा को always जाना रहता है और आना रहता है। members of Sundawas. So common sense is all about the mental skills, right? It is also the ability to analyze something. The ability to analyze something. So John McCarthy, he is one of the premier scientists and of his time and an AI expert. He talks about common sense reasoning in one of his works way back in 1959, which explains that a program has a common sense if it automatically deduces for itself sufficiently wide class of immediate consequences of anything it is told and what it already knows. So this was one of his papers way back in 1950s that talked about common sense. Common sense is what people come to know in the process of growing and living in the world. Common sense is like it is not related to the pragmatics, or it is not related to directly, even though some people talk about it as a pragmatic analysis part uh, of the natural language processing itself. But common sense is mm, even a 4-year-old kid, if he once understands that touching a hot object is painful to the hand, the next time you will not have to instruct him or her. He will automatically go away from an object that is fuming, that means from which there are certain kind of hot air is coming out, that individual is going to go away from that particular part. He or she has developed common sense for that particular thing, right? So like another good example of common sense is, if I ask you to hold an egg in your hand, egg, do I have to say that don't press it beyond these much pascals of force or this much amount of weight? It should be lesser than 10.5 gram per square inches of the surface of the egg. Am I going to say all these things? No, you yourself know that it is very, very fragile and brittle, and you need to hold it very, very delicately. Likewise, for a glass full of sugar or salt, you're not going to drop it on the ground, because you know the moment you're going to drop it from a particular height, it will break and the whole of the salt and the sugar will spill out. This whole processes involve one kind of thinking process that comes up within you as well as me over a period of time. As we grow on and as we gather experience, we get these kind of information that if I do that, it's gonna break, right? So we are going to get these kind of informations through our experience over a longer period of time. By analyzing, it is basically the ability to analyze certain situation based on its context, right? And it depends on that how we are able to do the common sense reasoning for any kind of task. We do have certain formalizing mechanisms also. We'll be talking about the formalizing mechanisms, right? Now we do have an example, like everyone knows that dropping a glass of water, the glass will break and the water will spill down. However, this information is not obtained by the formula or equation of a falling body or equation governing the fluid flow. We don't have to give you all this information. It's just a common sense that you're not going to drop that glass knowingly, at least. That is your common sense. And you're going to abide by that. So, how are you getting those kind of common sense? But can a computer do all these kind of things? The answer is no. A computer program cannot even match the abilities of a 3-year-old child. A 3-year-old child knows that if he stands, he has to somehow hold an object nearby so that he doesn't falls away. So all these things are there, which has to be inculcated within the computers, right? For the day-to-day usages. Now, why computers cannot think about the world as any person can? Because they lack in common sense, right? They definitely do have specialist knowledge, like knowledge in mathematics or some of the engineering processes, but they don't have the common sense knowledge. So McCarthy also once suggested to use the logic behind every knowledge segment, and that thing can be encoded so that it can be used as a common sense. But it failed to a certain extent. Now comes the common sense knowledge and reasoning. Now, the common sense knowledge, what everyone knows, and the common sense reasoning is the ability to use the common sense knowledge. The first one is what you know about common sense, and the second thing is what you know in case of reasoning. Now, common sense knowledge is about what what one can express as a fact using richer ontology. Right? Ontology means a set of encoded information from a specific domain or from a diversified generic domain, right? So every person is younger than the person's mother. This is also another set of common sense. These rules you cannot define even while you are defining the rules in case of prologue programming also. Right? So people do think like being repeatedly, people do not like being repeatedly interrupted. This is also common sense. If you hold a knife by its blade, अगर आप किसी knife को उसके blade से पकड़ते हो तो there are chances that you may get a cut. These are all common sense knowledge. People go to the parties to meet new people. These are common sense. You don't have to describe all these things. Now comes common sense reasoning. What one builds is a reasoning method into his program. If you have a problem, think about the past situation where you solved a similar problem, and then you can come up with a common sense reasoning. If you're taking up an action, you have to anticipate. That means you have to guess what you wanna get as a reward for that particular step. This is also called common sense reasoning. That before you take a particular step, how you are going to analyze that what may be the future output of it, and that thing can decide your common sense steps. Okay. Now, how to teach common sense to a computer? ये थोड़ा सा theoretically आप इसको देखने वाले हो, and I'll be talking about this project CYC and project OpenMind. So project OpenMind is a MIT's work, and project CYC was a very popular one. They are pretty old. Now, common sense knowledge base building. Project CYC talks about building a knowledge base. So at present, they are having around 1.5 million pieces of common sense information that they have collected from various sources, and they are storing it. But still, they are far, far away from every small bit of common sense that a human being holds, right? So you cannot encode all of them into the database and collect and try to recollect them whenever they are needed, because by doing so, what can happen is it will require a huge amount of space, and also to retrieve the information a lot of time can be consumed, right? A lot of time can get consumed. ठीक है? Sir, only particular nouns are being highlighted. Yes, yes. Here, no, no. Here in this case, if you're talking about the named entity tagger, then particular nouns are not highlighted, right? They only tag the useful bit of information on the basis of the named entity tagger, named entity, naming an entity and then tagging it off, right? Naming an entity and then tagging it off is that part. Okay, forget about it. So project CYC is about that thing. Now the next one is project Open Mind, right? Project Open Mind is about a common sense knowledge base building. It also talks about collection of around the 7 lakh facts and 15,000 contributors. And this was an MIT project. And yeah, this is again, these are all, somehow training based projects in which they were collecting a lot of information from outside, and they can make a system much more common sense enabled. ठीक है, थोड़ा सा ये सब देखना. So with all this I'll call it as the end of my part, but this is not an end. On Sunday again I'll be there. आप में से किसी को भी आने का मन करे, you can be there. ठीक है. And within a day or two I'll be putting up a Google Drive extension in which you'll be finding all your lecture notes, your assignments, your tutorials. You take up some time of 7, 8, 9, 10 days. You complete it off and keep it with yourself. You can ask it from you at any point of time. On the lab part, you have to complete those 15 assignments that are given to you, and जो आपके ग्रुप में आपने एक एक प्रोजेक्ट लिया था उसको भी आप बना करके रखोगे. You are sitting back at home and you can easily do it. Kindly do it and keep all those documents ready with you. I have said you very very clearly these all things may be required at later stages. So from my side, thank you so very much. Now next time when we'll be meeting, we'll have some extensions, but officially this is the part that I was supposed to tell you. May God bless you, bless me, as well as bless my country, India. Thank you. You may leave and you may enjoy the evening. Thank you. Good night. Take care. Bye. You may leave the meeting. Hey, wait, wait, wait. Attendance ले लो भाई. कोई तो attendance ले लो. शुभम भाग गया. Attendance लिए हो? Good. Thank you. Thank you, Shuesh. Thank you.
सर अटेंडेंस कैसे देनी है?